Chris Williams here. You're feeling the pinch, the market's saturated, and coaching isn't enough to protect your family, your lifestyle, your home. The statistics show this. Companies are laser focused on ROI right now. And if you're just running ceremonies, your rate of pay is going to keep dropping. I invite you to discover how to propose experiments that move real metrics with our tested $17 Business Outcomes Partner Playbook. Stop offering value and start delivering meaningful results that leadership can actually see. Secure your future now. Links are in the show notes below. A lot of people out there get the feeling that it's over, and they're falling back to positions that they don't really want for pay cuts they didn't really deserve. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not over. That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast.
Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams.
Hey, friend. I'm glad you're here. It's time for some straight talk. I'm not here to blow smoke or to make you feel better. I'm here to tell you how things are based on what I see on the ground, what's going on in our industry. But first, let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works. Relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources out there about what you need to do to be agile, but we're focused on who you need to become in order to lead teams. Let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry. If you like this episode, if it helps you, do us a favor, share it with your friends. Okay, it's time for some straight talk about what's really going on in this industry. Is Agile going to disappear? No, it's not going to disappear. There are tons of companies who will continue to invest in Agile, and the data backs that up, because they either believe in it, it's working for them, or worst case, it's a sunk cost thing. They don't want to give up on something they've already spent a ton of money on, because how do you explain that? We're too far in to let go. But honestly, I don't think that's the real reason why people will keep investing. From a development operations perspective, it works. Agile, Scrum, and so on have helped us build a practice that's reliable, somewhat predictable, and maybe even better than the way it used to be. Oh, sure, there are problems. Trying to scale it is one of them. Not all of an organization is going to be ready to adopt agile iterative principles. Not everyone's going to be into continuous self-reflection and continuous improvement. You're going to keep hearing people say, we don't have time for this, or you can't do this here. I get what you're saying, but that's not how we do things around this town. I'm not sure that will ever go away. But what's not going to happen is the complete and utter disappearance of agility as a practice or a mindset. If nothing else, when you look at CEO reports, you continue to hear executives prioritizing agility, meaning lowercase agility, like the English meaning of the word, which is the ability to keep your eyes out and to adapt based on shifting market conditions for the benefit of the business. Not just for the benefit of the business, but the survival of the business. The surge of AI interest in the past 3 to 4 years alone shows you how quickly the landscape can change in ways that we couldn't have seen just a year before. It's been a monumental shift, and although I believe some of it is early gold rush days, where we're embracing it and adopting it without a lot of planning, guardrails, research, but then again, doesn't Agile teach us to go all in and not worry about those guardrails and not do the upfront research? I think the winners will be ones who are experimenting with it in a safe container. Now, does that mean that Agile and AI walk hand in hand into the future? It might. There's tons of applications for Agile in AI adoption, to be sure. And I mean helping companies adopt AI, not trying to bring AI into your Agile practice, like not trying to replace Scrum Masters with ChatGPT. I don't think that's quite it. But we've been talking in the past few episodes about outcomes over outputs, and I think that's really the next phase. Because look at history. I've been around this industry, the technical industry especially, for a long time now. I started my tech career in 1994. I was a Microsoft certified trainer. I taught MCSE curriculum, if you know what that is, and then I taught Microsoft certified developer curriculum. In the day, you could walk away from a certification and straight into a $100,000 a year job. I trained 19-year-old kids who borrowed the money from Aunt Edith, like $10,000, $15,000, to take these courses, pass the tests, and then go work for like a big TV studio as a Microsoft network engineer. Well, where are those jobs now? Where are those opportunities now? They're gone. Is Microsoft technology gone? No. MS operating systems? No. What about the server platforms? Is that gone? No. The skills that I used to teach, are they irrelevant? No, they're as relevant almost 30 years later. But what's disappeared is that heightened, trendy, and if we're being honest, somewhat overpriced nature of what we do. Now, if you're an Agilist, if you're a technologist, you might like chasing the latest trends because they pay well. Nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying to you is, at the moment, that won't look like the Scrum Master role that we all grew up with. We no longer need specialized people to keep reinventing and re-explaining Agile. It's kind of one and done. It's well seated within the development community. It's become cultured, practiced, studied, written about, podcasted about, and the learning, the knowledge has spread well enough that we don't need to keep paying premium prices to sustain it. Now that creates a challenge for Scrum Masters because there are no new frontiers to settle. You're not going to see the mass expansion of agility in a way that requires the hiring of a big bucket of people. There's too much supply right now anyway. So this creates a problem. The problem is, if your contract is almost up, if you're worried about losing your job, you're thinking about changing companies, you're unhappy where you are, too many of us are just sitting back and saying, well, we'll take whatever we're given, whatever pay cut, whatever hybridized role, whatever compromised position. And it feels bad because it feels like the glory days are over. We can accept that every team doesn't need a Scrum Master, that companies are more interested in making a developer the de facto Scrum Master for a team, and that Agile coaching was maybe more hype than value. We can accept that. What we can't accept is that the work we do feels like it's no longer worthwhile. And that makes us feel like we're no longer worthwhile. It makes us feel like we've invested in something that's no longer relevant, and we can hear the death rattle from around the block. It sucks. I'll say what I always say. Agile people or impact people, we do what we do because we love the change that it makes. We love the possibilities and opportunities that it opens up. And now it feels like we can't have that anymore. But you can. Now look, you could keep chasing those roles, just like somewhere out there are a bunch of Microsoft system engineers sitting there doing the job, managing the servers, managing the network, dealing with stability, dealing with outages and errors. Those are still jobs. They're just not as in demand, and therefore they don't pay at the same rate that they once did. But this is a natural curve. This happens with almost every technology, but it doesn't mean that they're dead. Is something better coming along that replaces Agile? I haven't seen it yet. Some people say AI will do that. I doubt it. Now, if you're asking me, I think there are two major opportunities. You've probably heard me say it. You might be sick of hearing me say it. The biggest opportunities are either entrepreneurial, where you take the best of what you learned as an Agile practitioner and bring it to other businesses, other size of business, other verticals, or other areas of the business. Or you can help Agile practitioners or people who buy them become more effective at the other things they need to become more effective at, whatever you think that might be. Or heck, just take your Agile skills, build your own business. Who cares? That requires a different set of skills, mindsets, and activities that you're not used to. There's opportunity one. Opportunity two is become the person who leads Agile into the future. If you want to be involved in the ongoing conversation about this, join my community. It's called The Foundry. Forge Your Freedom. Links are in the show notes below. It's free. Come join the conversation. We're building something really cool. But either way, whether you believe me or not, whether you subscribe or not, I think you'll agree that we've hit a saturation point. Like any other story arc in the history of technology, you hit a point of adoption and saturation where you don't need specialized high-dollar trainers and coaches on the job anymore. Most people get it. Most people can do it. So the focus is no longer on the thing itself. There is no magic. There's nothing behind the curtains on Agile and Scrum. It's on what the thing can do. And as I call it these days, enabling outcomes with it. In the beginning, the technology is new. It's fresh. Think of AI right now. It needs to be harnessed. It needs to be adapted, understood. People need to be trained. We need standards. But most importantly, we need to know how to integrate the new technology into the business so it becomes a point of leverage for the business. In the beginning, companies rush out to buy their copy, they install it, and they go, now what? They do things piecemeal, they waste time and money, so they look for coaches to help them avoid those pains. We don't necessarily need that once you've reached steady state. We're not banging down the doors and waiting in line to get hold of the next Microsoft certified system engineer to teach us what we're supposed to do next. We're already there. We've got it. We've been there. We've learned the lessons the hard way. We're at the peak of the adoption curve. We have our own experts, so the urgency to go out and find one and pay top dollar for it has started to diminish. That's where we're at right now. Whereas with AI, we're at the beginning of the adoption curve. We're making all the mistakes. We're running blindly. We're chasing adoption because we can, not because we should, and certainly not because we're ready. Well, that's natural. I'm not shaming that. This is what people in large groups do. They do the best they can. So if it's not really over, what do they need? It needs people who understand how to integrate things well so that they can get that leverage. So now we're in the leverage phase of Agile. And leverage has got tons of room for expansion. Nobody's helping them really connect agility to business results. Nobody's really helping the executive team design how Agile will work. Nobody's really helping companies use Agile principles outside of tech or in conjunction with technology as a business partner. Those things still aren't happening. We're laser focused on agility, specifically Scrum, in the technology rooms, and that's not enough. But here's the worst part, is that there's nobody there really leading the charge to get to that next level. So what's happening is most of us are sitting around waiting for a job opportunity, a new job title to suddenly appear, that we can say, oh, that's me. Thank goodness you found a new use for me. How may I serve? I understand it, but I'm not going to celebrate it as a strategy because it isn't a strategy. If you want a working strategy, you're going to have to make it happen. And that requires, guess what? The very things that we teach: experimentation, failure, continuous learning, a focus on service and value first. So does that describe you? What I wanted to get across in this episode is don't lose hope. If you're coming across this podcast because you're stuck, because you're losing hope, it's been months or longer since you've last had a contract gig or even a job, and you're thinking it's time to quit, it's time to give up. Well, hey, if you no longer love what we do, by all means, go find something that you love. The world is changing. There's so many great different opportunities that didn't exist 5 years ago. Go chase those, by all means. But do it because that's what you really want. Don't do it because you're worried that it's over. It's time for you to get creative. It's time for you to get gritty. It's time for you to do what others won't so you can have tomorrow what others can't. Let other folks stay in the team room where Agile's become commodity and it's priced accordingly. Those would be great jobs for someone just starting out their career, for example. But you, I think you're here for a different reason. So my message to you today is don't quit. Don't give up, because it's not really over. We're just in the mature stage where our main job, our main purpose should be helping people integrate and leverage what we know, what we understand, and what we've built for greater and greater benefit to the organization. It's an expansion. It's not a replacement, but it's a way of looking at the universe that we couldn't have seen 25 years ago when the manifesto was first penned. If you haven't already, check out my product called the Business Outcome Partners Playbook. The idea here was to take the word Agile out of your job title for a little bit and showcase something new. Demonstrate to companies that you are the person who will help them take what we've learned and bring about business benefits and maybe even innovate faster and better, more efficiently, more agile. You can also check out all my learning products at learning.fusechamber.com. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, stay badass.